do this. Hi, Farron OS. Yeah, definitely going ahead with it this time. Yes, good evening, chat. Wow, this is quite a scary thing. I am actually trying a live broadcast. First time using OBS, and yeah. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing it? You know, it's so much easier to edit a video. If you make a mistake, you can just make those mistakes vanish. Very easy indeed. Yeah, first on the live stream. Anyway, let's get started on this. So, I wanted to talk about FUD and Linux data collection, fear, uncertainty and doubt. And this is a data collection specifically from Ubuntu 18.04. I've done a couple of videos on this now, and the latest one where I showed how to disable it seemed to have annoyed a few people. Well, that's... don't worry, I will annoy people, I will show how this is done, and I show the disadvantages of it, and simply because it has the potential to break your system in the future. Yeah, that's the problem. The dependencies were so well buried, and that it removed the Ubuntu meta package. That's it. Yeah, has the potential to damage your system long term, and that's something I state, and people seem to have been annoyed by that. Oh well, never mind. So the video I'll be discussing is actually from Linux Unplugged. So I'm going to play a little bit of this. I hope it comes through.
We've seen a disappointing trend of clickbait to try to make, or manufacture you might say, some drama around the quote data collection services in Ubuntu 18.04. And even the name is sort of over dramatizing what this is. If you install Ubuntu 18.04, at the end there's a screen that comes up that says what's new in Ubuntu. And at the end of that screen, it talks about data collection, and it shows you an example of the data collection. We're going to go over one of those reports in a moment, but I've noticed a trend, particularly with YouTube, and I hate to come on here and be like, oh, you know, Chris yells at YouTube once again.
Oh, then Chris is back.
But it's pretty disappointing because it plays to a well-trained sort of need response.
Okay, sorry everyone, I hope just trying to sort this volume out a little bit more. I should realise really, because it, yeah, I do amplify my videos quite a bit, so yeah, let me know if this is a little bit better. Anyway, that was a little clip I wanted to play from Linux Unplugged. Apparently I'm just some guy on YouTube who's trying to stir up this sort of thing for ad revenue. Yeah, not quite right. Not quite right at all. I've been discussing privacy issues for a while. Yeah, this is the video they're mentioning. They don't actually discuss it in their video. Oh well, would have been nice if they did. Maybe I could have allowed the viewers to see it and, you know, seen exactly what they were talking about. But they didn't. It's a pity. I might have actually respected them more if they had shown that they had mentioned it. So yeah. I was watching this video recently from Switch to Linux. He did a live stream and he did a pretty good job of actually going through it all. Happy with that, yeah. And yeah, I did watch the whole hour and 22 minutes. I'm not going to let my live stream go on quite so long. Simple fact is I do have to get some sleep at some point, and yeah, got to go to work the following day. Yeah, the ad revenue from YouTube doesn't quite pay enough for me to just do this as a living. I do have to go to work. And yeah. So this is a video I put out, 2016. Why I'm so concerned about privacy. What do I say?
What about privacy? Well, the early stages of privacy invasion on the internet would be more to do with working out what people are looking at to show targeted advertising. Because targeted advertising is more likely to receive clicks of greater benefits to companies. Great. So they get more money. Show you advert you're most interested in. We see it abused further and further nowadays. What you do, the internet, mobile phone, computer, is now worth more money to these companies. Why it's worth so much? But the extent they're spying on us, tracking us from various different means.
Anyway, this was kind of the point I wanted to make, that you start down a slippery slope and these things just spiral out of control more. And I have absolutely no problem with what Ubuntu are doing at the moment. In principle, how it is being handled is it's reasonable enough. They're not asking for too much information. It's not too personally identifiable. And it is within the data they're trying to say they're collecting is your version, your operating system, your computer, the CPU, the RAM, disk sizes. Yeah, that's very basic. What I am disappointed with, though, is when you try and opt out of the data collection, it still sends the message off to Ubuntu that you have opted out. That's quite disappointing to see, really. If I was to opt out something, I don't necessarily want the information sent at all. And the point was raised, sorry, let's try to get the right video. Yeah, the point was raised from Switch to Linux that he's worked with various activists that definitely do not want this information sent out. And I thought that's very fair and reasonable. Yeah, if you say you want to opt out of something, then that's it. You don't want the information sent at all. And this is not the first time I've talked about privacy issues. Linux Deep In as well. Yeah, I suppose I did start tackling more with operating systems lately. I've done bits with add-ons and applications. Now we've got on to the operating systems. But what Linux Deep In were doing was it's a lot worse than where Ubuntu were. So Ubuntu were at least encrypting the connection. They did at least ask you before sending data. Linux Deep In, on the other hand, had embedded it within the App Store, and the App Store was to do your upgrades. So it was run regardless of whether you selected the App Store or not. Not only that, the data was sent unencrypted, and it was sent to a third party. And Linux Deep In countered with they're not after personal information, and they're not actually after anything much at all, really. But the trouble is what the third party is going to take. They don't know. They don't seem to have control over that. And that's kind of the point I was trying to push. It's not just this third party that's collecting this data, and because it's unencrypted, anyone can see that data. If you have sight on the network where the system is, anyone can see that data. That's why I've called that one spyware. Ubuntu does not get labelled the same. Ubuntu 18.04 is not spyware. It does have data collection issues, though. And that small amounts of information do add up. That's kind of part of my concern. I don't necessarily want small amounts of information being sent to companies. I'm surprised Canonical really went this way because of Windows 10. I mean, a lot of people were outraged by what Windows 10 did. Did I do a video on that? Yes, I did. Windows 10 spying is worse than I ever imagined. Best part of 210,000 views. I can't believe someone at Canonical looked at that and then thought, why don't we do the same thing? That's like the worst thing you want to emulate from Microsoft. No. And this is the first version they've done it as well. When did Ubuntu start? It's over, was it? I'm trying to think. I think 2006, I'm thinking. Or was it slightly before? So anyway, they've gone 10 plus years without actually collecting any data. And now all of a sudden they want to do this. Why? I do wonder if it's more to do with shareholders. Is that a possibility? Anyone else got any thoughts of why they do want to do this? Revenue generation? Or more like to show that they can generate revenue, I think, is the term there. And tech designs, I think Canonical's been infiltrated, yes. I think that is absolutely the theory. Might be to speed up security patches. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, if you're targeting specific hardware. Yeah. And of course, it's not to do with 32 or 64-bit architecture these days. Canonical have only supplying 64 bits. 32-bit is kind of supported. To push people to Arch. Yeah, to push people to another distribution. At least it wasn't all derivatives of Ubuntu carrying out this data collection. Only Ubuntu and Ubuntu Mate were actually carrying it out. Well, I'll be keeping a close eye on Kubuntu. That's the one I want to aim for, or KD Neon. I think this is about Shuttleworth wanting to return on investment of desktop development. How much invested for unique users? Yeah? Okay, show investors. Investors, yes. Using Ubuntu for servers and paid customers. Want security to be stable and not cause crashes. True, and yes, Ubuntu is used in the business environment. I suppose in that they don't have a particularly good idea of how many business customers they do have compared to, say, Red Hat. Red Hat do know because they are actually paying, well, it's a pay-for distribution. So people have to pay for support. At least if you're paying for support, then you do know how many customers you have, or at least a rough number of how many customers you have. Canonical got to sell data to make some money. Maybe. Good idea, Franco. Yes, maybe they have got to make some money back. Yeah. So I can appreciate the idea of it being towards quality development. But they should at least, the opt-out should at least be opt-out. And I think they could have got some of this information just by asking at the forums. People who are actually writing on forum posts are not actually the majority. They are the minority. And I certainly know this from my own videos. And let's just take an example here. 9,000 views, 132 comments. Yeah, it's a small number of people are actually willing to comment on something. So another problem with this that Popcon was pre-installed, and it's actually ripping out Popcon is what actually destroys the Ubuntu meta package. But reading it on Debian, and not forgetting that if you go through the installer on Debian, it actually asks you, do you want to install Popcon? I can't remember the exact wording, but it does actually ask you, do you want to install it? Ubuntu 18.04, it comes pre-installed, although disabled. Yeah, just leaving Popcon in there in a state of inactiveness. That's a bad word, isn't it? Leaving Popcon in there just being disabled, it's still like, it's a ticking time bomb. It's like saying, I've placed a bomb in your house, but don't worry, I've not actually activated it. No, it's just sitting there doing nothing. Yeah, to me, I have an issue, and Popcon's kind of worse. It sends along a unique ID and allows you to potentially fingerprint a system. Let me just take a drink, a nice sip of water. I could have gone for beer, but I think water is maybe appropriate for this. Yes. Much better. Just looking at some more comments. It should be 100% voluntary, not by default. Yes, indeed. So I was trying to look at a report from PopCon, just trying to look at the data itself in the file. I just had a quick look around at it. So I just looked at the cache on Ubuntu Mate. PopCon Debian 4 is fairly gibberish, really. Although I can see mention of some applications there. Anyway, I was trying to look for the specific file where it had the unique ID. Couldn't come across it particularly quickly, but I'm aware of the concept of how this works. So even on the GitHub page of PopCon, it's impossible to make a submission completely anonymous, since internet servers tend to add headers and log messages along the way. Our receiver program at Debian throws away this information as soon as possible, so no one will see it. But if you're really paranoid, you might not want to participate. Well, for those of us wearing a tin hat, who don't want to participate, it says it all right there. Don't install it if you don't want to participate. The popularity contest comes packaged with a cron task to send information out to us each week. You can change where the submissions go by editing that file there. Normally you'll send the results. So that's so I'm just trying to work it out. I didn't think it was an email. Yeah, I must admit I've come from not really reading a huge amount about this. I just have awareness of the concept of PopCon. So Debian give you a choice whether you want to participate in this. Ubuntu don't. In fact, Ubuntu go that step further and they buried it in the meta package, which actually makes disabling it causes you long-term issues for the stability of your system. Therefore, I actually have to think it's harder to disable the data collection services in Ubuntu 18.04 compared to Windows 10. Maybe not entirely, because Microsoft do make it harder on the domains. They actually have so many different domains that are multi-purpose. And they do have many different registry keys that you can disable, or maybe you can disable the data collection. Although most of the data collection services for a home user is pretty much on or maybe slightly off. But as far as I know, it does not render the operating system impossible to upgrade in the future should you go and disable the data collection in Windows 10. Yeah, I think that's a definite downside. Although if you're just blocking the domains, it's not so hard to do in Ubuntu 18.04. So just looking at some of the comments, nothing much. So Linux Foundation is also very pro-Microsoft. They pay in big money. Yeah, Microsoft do actually give a lot of money towards Linux. And yeah, it's certainly very encouraging what Microsoft have done, actually allowing more flexibility with Linux, Windows System for Linux, WSL Linux, actually be able to run a bash terminal with Windows 10, quite a blessing. I have to use Windows 10 at work. I know it's bad, but yeah, at least I've got these options of actually using Linux within there. Quite happy. This was a video I did about discussing the Ubuntu 18.04 potential for spying back in February. Yes, it came to fruition in the end, and I suppose it wasn't too far off how they actually stated it would happen. And why do I discuss privacy so much? And should it be a surprise? Well, no track, something I make. Web application to stop potential spying. So I just happened to be looking at one of the pages there. So yeah, it does network-wide blocking of trackers, predominantly trackers. So it shouldn't be too much of a surprise as I would discuss such things. So I don't know why Jupiter Broadcasting thought I was doing clickbait when I wasn't. But I didn't want to particularly go after attacking them. I just wanted to discuss some of their aspects of what they've raised, because they've done this a couple of times to me now. And I suppose, yeah, I'm not too angry with them. If they said they wanted a discussion with this, then yeah, this is a discussion. This is what we're saying, that we don't necessarily find what Canonical are doing acceptable. Can't I just install uBlock Origin and call it a day with the anti-tracking stuff? Yeah, funny enough, that's kind of what I used to do, really. But then I ended up using it as a whitelist, and uBlock Origin is there. I just run it in advanced mode and use it to disable certain sites. But I've come down the route of blacklisting, really. It's just a lot easier. A lot easier, yeah. A lot easier if you can work out 10,000 plus domains that are dedicated entirely to tracking. So I have to admit, for a first time doing this live broadcasting, I've not prepared particularly well. I just thought this was some of the aspects I wanted to discuss. I know that this disabling of data collection services in Ubuntu has not worked 100%. That was brought up by one of the developers, and that the welcome screen still manages to send the tracking information out, the data collection information out, regardless if you say yes or no. And even with the removal of the Ubuntu report package. I will have to look into this again further in the future. It's not quite as simple as I thought they would have made it, really. They've made this API called Ubuntu report, yet the welcome screen doesn't interact with the API. So yes, I will have to take another look at that. Right. Have I actually got an example left of it? No, because I've already mucked around with this version of Ubuntu. I think this was actually the last one I used. So this should have the Ubuntu reports package removed. What I found weird, though, you can't actually seem to get the welcome screen disabled. That one puzzled me. And I was messing around with it for a while, trying to work out what the package this welcome screen was. So I'm going to type on the keyboard. I know that comes through quite badly on the microphone. Yeah, not much choice. Oh, I didn't. Did I install Synaptic? No, I didn't. Oh, my bad. Yeah, feel free to note down my password. It's a very basic password I used for a virtual machine. Yeah, I get the privilege of typing my password again. It's 2 words, that's all it is. 2 words, lowercase. Yeah, so I think of the obvious things like welcome screen and nothing there. The Ubuntu packages. Ubuntu, maybe might think called Ubuntu welcome. I don't know. I just literally could not find it. I was quite disappointed that I just could not find this package. Oh, the Ubuntu Mate welcome won't be in here because it is a snap. Popcorn, no. So I was just looking for the Ubuntu meta package. I had to remove this, and do you know what, I should just watch my own video again, see what I had removed. Yeah. The Ubuntu standard. Is that called Ubuntu standard? I think it is. course, that was the point I raised it. I'm sure it's not a snap. Yeah, I was looking at the snap packages. I couldn't see it running. Couldn't see it running there at all. Ubuntu stand. Oh, it's still on here. Obviously, this is not a version of Ubuntu I've messed around with. It's trouble. When you've got a load of virtual machines, you start forgetting which one you've dealt with. Oh, it's Ubuntu Mate. That's why I'm not looking at the right thing. No, sorry. I'm looking at the same. Looking at the correct version. I'm looking at Ubuntu. Too many windows, too many applications open. But yeah, too many virtual boxes as well. Doesn't help. Just query all the snaps in the terminal. Yeah, what I tried, I was trying snap remove. So snap remove, and that apparently is the list of snaps I have on my system. And the Ubuntu Mate welcome, that was done for one of the videos I made. So things to do after installing Ubuntu. I mean, so what else to discuss really? I think the way Ubuntu are going, it's a slippery slope. And if they start progressing any further with data they are collecting, they're going to stumble into collecting personal data. And what if they lose the personal data? That's something I should have mentioned earlier. Can they guarantee 100% that data will not be lost? I got hacked. Just read it there. Yeah, that would be what happens. Oh, that would be the risk there, that if they do get hacked, actually not forgetting they did get hacked before. What was it? The Ubuntu forums got hacked, wasn't it? Ubuntu forums hacked. 2016, 2 million users' details stolen. Yeah. It's not to say the same thing will happen again, but no, they were vulnerable to a SQL injection exploit, and they hadn't done some updates. Oh, hello there, TotalOS today. Good to see you, sir. I went on one of your live streams once, didn't I? Yeah, could Canonical guarantee 100% that the data will not be stolen? And I just don't think they could, because, well, a human would have programmed it, and humans make mistakes. And I'm sure I read somewhere before that the statistics are one mistake is made within about 1,000 lines of code. So if there's more than 1,000 lines of code in their data collection service, there will be a bug in there. Yeah, just looking at comments there. Do I use Linux as my home OS? Yeah. This is Ubuntu I'm running as the host OS here. And my home operating system, Ubuntu 17.10. I will upgrade at some point. Still waiting on some news of KDE Neon. See what they're going to release, their up-to-date version of what will be based on Ubuntu 18.04. Yeah, so anyway, the risk of loss of data, GDPR coming in. What does that stand for? Do you know, I've seen it so many times. GDPR. General Data Protection Regulation. Something coming in that the European Union are forcing on us, but until the UK actually leaves the EU, we still have to abide with GDPR. And what I know about GDPR is the fines are exceptionally hefty. Severe penalties of up to 4% of worldwide turnover or 20 million euros, whichever is higher. To be honest, I would hope Canonical have thought about this, because I don't want them seeing I don't want them to have to pay these fines should they lose the information. I'm sure no company wants to have to pay these fines. Imagine if Google lost their information. 4% of worldwide turnover for Google. That'd be hefty, wouldn't it? Boycott Ubuntu until they back down. Yeah. Of course, we could just refuse to use Ubuntu 18.04. Go to a derivative. Use another operating system. It's not like we have no choice really in the Linux world. Distro watch. Yeah, just a bit of choice here, isn't there? And yeah, we can certainly say, I'm not going to use Ubuntu. What made me do a live broadcast? Do you know what? I thought I would give it a try at some point, and I thought the information I could discuss here would going to be more interesting for a live broadcast, and I can interact with some of the community here. And just looking at the chat running through there, it's quite amazing, really, just how many people do actually watch my channel. And I'm thankful for you guys. Yeah. Do appreciate the views. Yeah. I think, well, I wouldn't have used Ubuntu 18.04 regardless of this privacy issues, the data collection issues. To be fair, I left Ubuntu some years ago. When was it now? I'm trying to think. I mean, it's got to be 2015 or before. Nah, it's going to be before. I would have done a video on it, and it would have been. I think it would have been quite a well-viewed video. Let's just look at the view count on the videos. Yeah, side of the channel you wouldn't normally see. But yeah, most viewed videos. Why I hate Ubuntu? Oh no, it's 2016. I can't remember. It's been a long time now, hasn't it? Certainly I've been using KDE Neon for a while, and it was it Kubuntu before that, and you know, my mind has just gone blank. What I have used. I'm sure it'll come to me after I finish this live stream, but yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't be using the GNOME environment. And I just think too many features have gone out of it. Why would I use it? I'm perfectly happy with KDE, and that's where I aim to stay. Solid K, that was what I was thinking of. That's the distro I moved for when I first left Ubuntu. So long Ubuntu, welcome Solid K, 2014. Do you know, I hadn't realised it had actually been that long. The first step away from Ubuntu, Solid K, KDE, Kubuntu, KDE Neon, back to Kubuntu again, probably going to KDE Neon next. Anyway, I think that's about all I want to discuss really with it. So chat, this has been an interesting one to try. What do I think of Solus with the Plasma desktop? Do you know, I've not actually tried that yet. I'm not sure I would want to try Solus really with Plasma. I always think Solus has its place for the budgie desktop. How stable is KDE Neon? Do you know, that was actually perfectly stable the time I used it, and fair play, the desktop does actually drastically change throughout its development. I mean, it's a bleeding edge KDE desktop, so yeah, and it was stable for me. The only reason I actually left it towards Kubuntu was the fact I just wanted a newer kernel. And although you can upgrade the kernels, it just made more sense to go this way, and at least snaps would actually work better. I thought, hey, I've got loads of ideas with snap-based applications. I can show off more of them, and that never really happened, did it? I think I've probably done 1 or 2 since then. Am I ever going to try Arch with KDE? Do you know, I've actually tried a couple of them. Antergos and Manjaro. Yeah, I did want to play around with them a bit more, so yeah, I will. It's been one on the to-do list. I will actually look back more at KDE on Arch. So anyway, I've got rather distracted here, but I think I'm going to wrap up here. So this has been a good laugh chat, and well, I say good laugh. Yeah, almost terrified at some points. I know I've made mistakes here, but it's been an interesting one. So thank you all for watching. See you later.